much stuff happened today, man.
Really?
Okay.
Chapter 1.
Today is YTD Kislev.
Whoa!
Good.
Yeah!
5533, 1772. Today in Chabad history, dun dun dun, the passing of Rabbi Dover, the Maggid of Mizrich. The Alter Rebbe relates on Sunday, the 17th of Kislev, 5533, 1772, my master, the Maggid of Mizrich, said to me, during the last 3 days of his life, before a person returns a soul that was entrusted to him, all he sees is the word of Hashem, the word that is immanent in all things, which is, in truth, the essence of all matter. That night, he taught me a procedure to be followed on the night before a bris milah. Then he asked me why I had no questions about Shabbos that precedes it, the occasion of the Shalom Zachar. I replied that I thought it best if the holy words that I heard from his lips came from their own accord, like the dew that drips down from Atika Kadisha. The Maggid nodded in agreement. He then described to me the procedure for the Brit Milah and of Shabbos preceding it. He continued, Chazon, a vision of Abadiah. He who serves Hashem sees a play on the name Abadiah, which can be read to mean one who serves God. A son will be born to you, and you will give him my name, Dover. During the night preceding the Brit Milah, be sure to remember and repeat all that I told you tonight. On Tuesday, the 19th of Kislev, in the town of Anapoli, the Maggid of Mizrich returned his soul to his creator. He's buried in Anapoli. A dispute arose between the townsfolk who routinely dealt with burials, the student of the Maggid, as to who should perform the tahara of the deceased. The former stood on their prerogatives, the latter on their belief that, just as they had served the rabbi during his life, so should they serve him after his passing. The dispute went to attribution, and the rabbis ruled in favor of the Kever Kadisha, stipulating that only those of the students who were bona fide members of the Kever Kadisha in their hometowns could participate in the rites on an equal footing with the townsfolk. As is known, while still a child, the Alter Rebbe became a member of one of these societies in the town of Lazona, and it was that he was privileged to participate in the Tahara of the Maggid of Mizrich. The students of the Maggid drew lots to determine which of them should be entrusted with the washing of each of his holy limbs. To the Alter Rebbe's lot fell the task of washing the head, designated in history as his head is of fine gold, Shir Hasharim 5:11. As the Maggid was being carried to the mikveh, the Alter Rebbe declared, our sages teach that the righteous are greater in death than they were in life. Since this is the case, let the Rebbe immerse himself. Everyone present kept his place. The Maggid was allowed to immerse himself. And immerse himself he did. Once, twice, 3 times. He is buried in Anapoli.
Wow.
Sefer told us. 19th of Kislev, 5559, 1798. The Alter Rebbe released from imprisonment. Rosh Hashanah for Hasidus. Dun, 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 dun. The Alter Rebbe is released from imprisonment. The Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak relates in the Sikha, when the Alter Rebbe was taken to St. Petersburg, the precise location of his cell is in the fortress of Perntapolov. By the way, if you look right here, here's a picture of the fortress the Alter Rebbe was in.
Oh, wow.
It's really, really big. Yeah.
How big is that?
Huge.
What is it?
All big.
It's pretty much the size of 7.
The prison Alter Rebbe was in?
This is the prison he was in.
It's him.
Alter Rebbe. Okay.
He's like waving, right?
He's Alter Rebbe.
Was known only to his jailers. He remained there for more than 7 weeks, exactly 53 days. For the first 3 weeks, he was kept under close surveillance, and his cell reserved for suspected traitors. In effect, one of the testimonies against him alleged that he was collecting funds for the use of the Sultan of Turkey. Somewhat later, the Rebbe was to be granted more comfortable quarters within the same fortress. Special tribunals set up to investigate the charges against him were in session during the entire period of the Rebbe's incarceration in Partapalov. Then began the inquest. This was held not in the precincts of the fortress, but at the headquarters of the secret police, and the Rebbe was ferried there across the river Niva. The Rebbe was cross-examined by ministers of the government attending in person and answered all their questions in a lucid manner. The cross-examination was transmitted in its entirety and the documents sent to the Senate for perusal. In this way, the senators were able to form an idea of the Alter Rebbe's extraordinary intelligence and came also to recognize his purity of heart. On YTD Kislev, the Alter Rebbe was declared to be totally innocent of all charges. His release was now only a matter of bureaucratic procedure. The Alter Rebbe himself wrote of this memorable occasion, "Its merits to be known that the day on which the God dealt wondrously with us, the 19th of Kislev, the Halula of our holy master the Maggid, is the day, Tuesday, on which it was good, was repeated twice in creation. At the very moment that I was reading in the book of Tehillim, the verse, He has redeemed my soul in peace, and before I could recite the next verse, I was liberated in peace by God who is peace. The Rebbe, Rabbi Shalom Dober, who proclaimed the 19th of Kislev, the Rosh Hashanah of Hasidus, wrote, "My children, gather together on the 19th of Kislev and rejoice with the joy of the festival, through whose advent our souls were redeemed in peace, and the light and vitality of our souls was passed down to us." This day is the day of Rosh Hashanah, of the teachings of Hasidus, which were bequeathed to us by our saintly ancestors. This day is the beginning of thy works, the true and ultimate purpose of man's creation on earth, which is to draw down the revelation of the light of Penimiut, inwardness of our holy Torah, which on this day is a general sense, casts its radiance upon the entire year. Our task on this day is to arouse our hearts to an absolutely true and sincere innermost will and desire for our souls to be illuminated by the light of the inwardness of His Torah. And also, 19th Kislev 5559, 1798, the birth of the Rebbe said, Menucha Rochel Slanim, daughter of the Mittler Rebbe. Also, 19th Kislev 5576, 1815, the freeing of Rabbi Moshe, son of the Alter Rebbe, from detention by the church. Whoa. Rabbi Moshe, the youngest son of the Alter Rebbe, was born in Lazona, 5544. 1784, he was exceptionally intelligent, and during the lifetime of his father, would repeat verbatim all the explanations of Torah that he heard from his lips. The Alter Rebbe was especially fond of Rabbi Moshe. He was fond of saying that through a rare act of divine grace, his mental capacities had been increased tenfold over those of his great-grandfather, Rabbi Moshe, after whom he is named. This, apart his memory, was a cemented cistern from which no detail escaped. And if you want to read the rest of the things that happened during 19th of Kislev, it's right here.
Yeah, just read it. See what way.
It's a lot to read. And dun 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 dun. Anyanigul Mashiach. Veyor halavana ki or hachama. The light of the moon shall be like the light of the sun. At present, the moon receives its light from the sun, which enables it to give off its own light. In the future, however, the light of the moon will equal that of the sun. The moon will no longer need the sun, but will be luminous in its own right. Have a great day, YTD.